Okay, so it's been a minute since I've put anything up here on the channel. So I'll just get right to it. For any of you guys that used to follow Alan Watt, he has passed away. I think he died about 2 weeks ago. I just found out about it 2 days ago. He was a guy I learned a lot of information from, and seemed like a genuine person, but he's dead now. That came quite out of shock, at least to anybody that followed his work for any duration of time. He was a very thorough, very investigative researcher into all matters of the truth, really. And, the thing is, I followed his work for several years. I didn't know the guy personally, never met him in my life, never talked to him, but I liked his work and learned a lot of things from him. One of the few people out there that, definitely one of the few people out there that was left that managed to convey information the way that he did. Very few people are able to do it in the way that he did it. But yeah, he's dead now, so there goes another guy. But the thing is, you have to be careful, and this is where we as humans have to be careful, and especially if you are involved in any kind of research, especially nowadays. You never know who's on what side. There's liars and snakes in the grass every little corner you turn and everywhere you look. You never know, these people could be working for the bad guys, if you will, and then here you are giving a crying a river of tears for somebody that you don't even really know who the hell they were. So that's why you kind of have to remove yourself from it, and no matter how much, unless you really knew them well, you leave it and you keep going forward, because there's too many snakes around. There's too many people that are deceivers that are trying to set us all up in the end. But if he was genuinely real and all of that, he will be missed, and he did a great job. Second thing I want to talk about is that we're entering in a technological and information dark age. Information is slipping right through our fingertips like sand. Everything is being erased. Everything is now, all the predictions have basically come true at this point, and we're living in it. That means that all the young people that are coming up and moving into the world will have no idea about anything that really went on. And by the time they hit my age, all this stuff will be gone. Very few people will be left, and the ones that are left are older, and they would have died off. And that will be the end of it. And then the last group of people that manage to hold on to the information, people probably my age, will be targeted. And we already are targeted. And that's why they're putting the clamps down on people for talking about anything real anymore, because they don't want a society that knows how things really used to be, or how things really were, or what the truth is behind why things are the way that they are. And so we're entering in a information dark age, where people are going to be left out in the dark about anything that goes on. And the other thing about it is, you have to be trained in order to understand how to read between the lines. And this is why this stuff took years to get to. It took years to get to of studying and researching about how things really work, and how to read between the lines and read another language, basically, to understand how and what is really being said. It's not something that you just pick up on overnight. See, the thing people don't understand is, people always have this term called, I'm awake and aware and all this kind of bullshit. And see, it doesn't work that way. This was a study that took years and years and years to get to this point. And a lot of sacrifices were made once you finally got to that point and you really truly embraced what you would call the truth of the way things are. Your whole life changes and you make a lot of sacrifices for that, and you miss out on a lot of things, and you end up pretty much being a loner in this world, because you realize that everyone else around you, there's very few people you can relate to. Most people are all tied into the system, and you can't talk to them about this stuff for many reasons. So you end up on your own with all this crazy information and shit that you know about, and you can't tell anybody about it because they wouldn't understand, and you're being targeted for it too. Now you're on a whole nother level. So now, so you pay a price to hold this information, and you pay a price with making sacrifices, with, missing out on things that a lot of people get to experience, and a lot of things that you might have wanted to do, or a different life you could have led, but you decided to go down this road and sacrifice everything you had, your friendships, your family, relationships, at least to an extent, and any kind of personal or intimate relationships with people, because you see right through the fact that most people are mentally ill, and then you just start deducting all of the reasons as to why that happened, and then once you back all that up with everything else that has gone on in history to get to that point, you've already kind of outsourced yourself already by that time, so there's no point at that point once you fully realize it. So you're pretty much exiled from society at that point, and it comes at a price. A lot of people, they just say, well, fuck it, I just don't want to be a part of society, and they remove themselves, but they don't really understand the consequences and the sacrifices and the costs that you pay to be able to be a part of that. It's not without a cost. Nothing in this world is without a cost. You pay for all of it. You pay for every little bit of it. That leads me to the third thing. As you move forward in life, especially in a situation like I'm in, or maybe many other people where you've realized how things kind of work around this place, you end up realizing that no one ever ends up staying around. You will probably lose most of your friends. The people that end up sticking around usually end up moving on with their lives, and then before you know it, everyone doesn't, and then you got no one left to talk to. If you ask your parents or your grandparents or anybody else, or even your older friends, did the friends that you used to talk to, are you still talking to them like you used to? More than likely, they're going to say no. Most people end up moving on, and I never understood why that was. I don't know if they get bored or whatever. That's something I don't understand, why people don't stick together. I don't get it. I don't understand the weird human dynamics of things, but in a way that I do, because it's all programming, it's all effects and things that have happened to them and all this kind of stuff, but I'm a part of a different program than the rest of society, so I don't relate to it. I can understand it and get it to an extent, but I don't relate to it. But in the end, you have to face this battle alone. People are going to die. Your parents are going to die. Your family are going to die. Your friends are going to move on. And people like us, who are fucking trying to figure out how to survive in this goddamn world, are going to be left with a lot of fucking things to have to deal with. And we're going to have to do it alone. People will not appreciate anything that we do. It will be forgotten. But the war is not with recognition, but it is a war within yourself. See, we don't do this for recognition. That's why I never ask for any kind of donations or anything like that. I don't care about that. This is a war of the mind and the soul. In the end, because in the end, all that recognition and all that shit doesn't mean anything when you're dead, and it's all programmed, and it's all part of the matrix, if you will. It doesn't mean anything in the end. What matters is what did you do in the time that you were here? Did you agree? Did you go along with it, or did you not? And that's what it all is going to come down to in the end, is what side are you going to choose when shit really starts hitting the fan? And are you willing to lay your life down on the line for what you believe is right? Because in the end, everybody's going to lose everything, and you see it every day happening. People are losing everything. People in the United States, we don't have a culture. We don't have family. We don't have the our education is just nothing but brainwashing and propaganda and corruption. We have no culture. We have nothing in the United States, really. We have lost it all. Honestly, we don't have the cultural or the patriotic aspects of what America used to be back in the 50s and the 60s or whatever, or the 40s and the 50s. We don't have that anymore. That's gone. We don't have anything anymore. We just have this. We just have what I mean. I don't even know how to explain what we have. We just have a bunch of brainwashed people in this country that are slowly dying, spiritually and psychologically. We don't have what we used to have. That has been gone for a long time, and that was all done by design to bring this country to its knees and then behead it, so that the younger generations coming up would have nothing left. They would have no culture. Everything would have been rewritten. I mean, it's straight out of 1984, the book. Everything that is going on is straight out of 1984. George Orwell's is 1984. Everything out of that book has happened. It's all happened. There's no history. There's no culture. They've rewritten the laws. They've rewritten history. They're altering every bit of information as we speak on the internet and everything else. Now, recently on the news, they're trying to prevent people. They're trying to pass laws where, and they're doing it right now. Biden's already fucking doing it, trying to implement a gun ban of AR-15s and whatnot. Where do you think that's going, guys? You think that that's just a fucking slap on the wrist? They're gonna come for the guns. They're gonna try their best. I mean, what do you think all this is? They're trying to de-arm the population. And it's not a fucking joke either. This is what they're trying to do. This is like one of the thousands of things they're trying to do. Because they know that if they take away the guns and they take away people's ability to defend themselves, then they can come in and do whatever the fuck they want. Because they know they have the guns and people they're going to be defenseless. So it's going to come down to one thing. Are you going to stand up for what's right, or are you going to go along with it? Because we got nothing left to fight for in this country. We got no culture. We got no family. Most of us don't have a family. We don't have kids. We don't have a wife. We don't have a girlfriend. We got no, most family relationships in the United States are zero, poor to none. People don't care about anything anymore. People don't care about each other anymore. And here we are, sitting ducks as they're fucking coming in with the bulldozer and blowing the whole goddamn house down. It's not about fame. It's not about recognition. It's not about money. It's not about how many people you get across to. That's not going to do nothing. It's too late to change the way things are. It's now an individual war within yourself and the very few people out there that are in the same league as you. You understand? And I'll tell you something else. All these videos that we've been posting on YouTube and all that, you think they haven't been correlating all that data, trying to figure out who's going to be the problem and who's not? You think you realize that, right? You do realize that every video that has ever been on YouTube has just been a giant intelligence gathering operation to figure out who's going to give these people, who's going to be the problem here and who's not. And we're already on the fucking marks of the target. The sniper's got his scope on us already. You understand how serious our situation is? But people don't understand how serious their situation is. Otherwise, you see people doing something a long time ago, but now it's too late because people didn't realize that and they didn't care. That's why we're part of a different program than the rest of society, because we realize it, and that's just how it is. We're in a lot of trouble. mean, for fuck's sake, I can't even get fucking people that I've known for fucking 5 years to hold a conversation with me. What makes you think we're going to save this fucking thing? You're not going to save it. This is way above our pay grade. This is way above any of those things. This is now an individual war of what you believe is right and what you believe is wrong, and you're either going to stand up against it and lay your life down on the line for what you believe is right, or you're going to go along with it, and that's just it. There's no other fucking options anymore. This is where we've come down to. There is no other options. You can't sit there and say we're going to go at it with the laws. You can't do that. They own everything. They own the laws. That shit never happens. That never works. Well, we need to go out there and we need to wake more people up. What do you think people have been doing for the last 10 years? How well has that worked? Obviously not well enough, because people still sit on their ass and do nothing. And the people that believed that certain key individuals that are in the news or truth community, I hate using that word, but you know who I'm talking about, or who I am, or what I'm talking about, are actually the very enemy that's trying to set you up. So you can't trust them either. So now it's all on you. You're on your own. So this is a war, an individual war of what is right and what is wrong, and what you're going to stand up against and what you're not. And you know what? We are in for some tough times in this country. I'm telling you, we are in for some tough times. If you think you've seen anything yet, you have not seen anything yet. That's why I have been with one person, and you know who you are. I've been trying to get you prepared and ready. Everybody else doesn't seem to give a goddamn, so good luck. I don't know what to say anymore, guys. It's just, I'm so jaded and frustrated. I feel like I've lived, way, way past my actual age. I'm 27 years old. I feel like I'm like 45, honestly. I am just burnt out and I am drained at 27 years old, because that's the price you pay for learning things that you probably shouldn't know, that they don't want you to know. When you find out how the world really works and you've been living with it for 5 or 6 years, it drains you. It beats you down, because you realize things that no one else realizes, and you can't talk about it, and everything you ever fucking learned just ends up getting proven to you day after day, and you just see the whole thing. It's like watching, do you know what the feeling of this is like? It's like watching, it's like seeing a group of animals, or elephants or something innocent, I guess, whatever you want to say, like that, walking over a train track and sitting there, and the train's coming, and you try to fucking get them out of the way, and the train isn't going to stop, and the elephants don't fucking move out of the train tracks, and they just all get pulverized and turned into fucking mist. And it fucks you up, because you see innocence being destroyed by something so monstrous as a train barreling down the tracks. And then you see it happen, and it fucks you up, but you move on. But then you keep going down the tracks, and you keep seeing the same fucking thing. You see a whole nother pack of elephants, and then a whole nother train keeps coming, and you see them get completely destroyed. And as you just keep walking down these tracks, you just keep seeing the same thing over and over and over and over again happen over and over again. It beats you fucking down, man. And certain people come along with you on the tracks, and they try to help you out, and then in the end they end up leaving too. eventually you just get to the point where you just stop caring. You become jaded. Because what can you do, man? Other than try to survive, I mean, for fuck's sake. Everything normal that I learned about all this stuff, anything that was supposed to be is not even remotely close to where it is. I mean, it's so far gone. It's like me, the equivalent of me wanting to see the world in a certain way or wanting to have certain things that I know I can't have is the equivalent of trying to convince the world now that they should still use steam locomotives or they should still use, the fucking hand crank car. It's so outdated now, people wouldn't even consider it. Because it's all done by design. It's a program. That's why they did it. To get to the point where we're at now. So anyways, guys, my point is it's frustrating. I say I don't care, but I do care. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making this video because I care. And the reason why I care is because I know how bad it's going to be. And I know how detrimental and dangerous and evil and wicked and destructive and completely world-ending, soul-destroying what they're trying to do is going to be. How can you not care if you have a fucking soul left in your body, which most people don't seem to have? And people are dying, and people are getting old, and you're on your own. And now you got to survive it, it's hard. You end up becoming jaded. You end up, I to be honest with you guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Very few things I get pleasure out of anymore. Fuck, I don't even like to drink anymore. That's how much I've just beat this thing to a dead horse trying to figure out a way to get out of this and escape from it. I have done everything. And it's just, it doesn't help. It doesn't help because you can't escape from reality. What's facing you can only, you can help ease the pain. It's like a woman going through birth and they give her a, what do they call it, a spinal tap? What's the word they call it? A subdermal, fuck, what do they call that when they numb the bottom of the spine? Whatever, it's like giving some kind of anesthesia, but you're still going to get cut. You know what I mean? You can only numb it, but you're still going to feel it. So it doesn't change anything, really. You can numb it, but you're still going to feel it. It's a good way of explaining that. Man, we are just... Never in my life, the other day I was listening to a song back song came out probably about 2003, 2004 when I was like about probably like 10 years old or something like that. I think that's all it was. I was a young preteen teenager, and I was I said to somebody, that was back in the day when I had hope. And I thought to myself after I said that, I said, God damn, man, you are in a world that you never even thought you'd be in back then. Here you are, and you're saying stuff like that. But that, like I said, guys, that's the price you pay to get to know the truth. And I wanted to know the truth. And this is the price you pay. It's the price you pay for wanting to know the truth. So, I don't regret it, though. That's the thing. I don't regret going down this path and having to pay the consequences that I've had to pay. Losing people and not being able to relate to people, really, and being on my own and stuff, and seeing things for what they really are, and knowing that it won't really get any better. This channel, if you've gotten to this point listening to this in as far as you have now, if you haven't realized yet, this channel is not for people that aren't, for the sunshine and rainbows. This is for people that really want to know how bad it is and what they're really fucking facing. That's why it's an unspoken rule amongst people that get far enough into studying this stuff. You shouldn't tell people about this stuff because it can ruin their fucking lives. Because it's a journey of the self. It's an individual journey where, you have to make the agreement to go down it, and you realize the price you're about to pay. You're on your head. It's like getting a loan. It's something that you have to sign on the dotted line before you decide to do it, and then you're going to have to fucking pay for it later. But when you start out, starting to sell people, or just out there openly telling people that kind of stuff, it can lead people into it can get people suicidal. It can make them feel like there's no hope, which, that's only for the hardcore to live in a world of no hope. But you get my point. Certain people are just not ready for that. They haven't worked to that point, and they're not willing to pay the price to really get to know the truth of what's really going on. And you'll realize it. I don't need to tell you, and it's not something I can just say, okay, here's the truth and blah blah blah. Yes, I can tell you what their agendas are and all that stuff, but the reality is, it's a soul thing. It's in your soul that you come to that realization. After Alan died, I might have, fuck me, man. There's not a lot of people left. I was thinking to myself, I might have to step up to the plate now and start making videos again. At least, because there's so many people out there that just don't have anybody to listen to or anything to turn to anymore. It's just all gone. Everybody's dying off. They're fucking, I don't know of too many people left anymore that I know of that are genuine. Everybody else has a fucking goddamn agenda. Or they want to fucking get the views, or they want it to be all, promotional and make it look pretty and all this kind of nonsense and have high production value. See, I'm not like that. So that won't be me. But as far as maybe the coaching you through or maybe being relatable, I guess I could fill that shoe, but I don't know. But there's not a lot of guys left to get the information from. Like I said, we're now entering in an age of information dark age, where information will be erased and people won't know what the hell came from what, or what the history was, or anything like that. And these people are just going to keep pushing it, man. I'm telling you, they're just going to keep fucking pushing it until there's nothing left. And so that's why you have to make a decision at a stand, At one point, do you say enough's enough? I would say if they start coming for the guns and they start doing that shit, obviously if you don't have the ability to defend your family or yourself, for God's sake, what else do you have to live for in this fucking world? But you know how they're going to do it. People are so fucking stupid now, man. They'll do it so incrementally and past things, and people won't even realize it, and they won't even care either. They'll just accept it and move on. People are not willing to kick ass, man. I'm telling you, this is the only way to solve this problem is with violence. You can't fucking negotiate with these people. These people are evil. These people are pure fucking evil. And I'll probably get kicked off here for saying that, but I'm telling you, you're dealing with evil. You guys are dealing with pure fucking evil, and you can't negotiate through laws or any of that other kind of bullshit by fucking sitting and having a fucking pity party with these people. They don't understand that. The only thing they understand is how to destroy things. So you got to meet force with force. That's the only way to deal with it. And I'm not saying going out there and committing acts of violence is a legal disclaimer. That's not what I'm advising, but I'm just telling you what the deal is. You read between the lines. So that's what we're dealing with. It's fucking hard. It's tough dealing with these things. I've had people when I tell them these things, say things to me that just make me laugh. Well, maybe you should go out more. And I'm like, yeah, you definitely don't come from the same cut of fabric that I do. You definitely are not in the same mentality, and you definitely have not done your research, I can tell you that. But the only reason I'm making this video out there today is because I just wanted to inform people that Alan Watt died. He was a great researcher, learned a lot from him. In a way, I consider him a mentor of information that I learned to get to me where I'm at and make some decisions in my life that I would have never made if it wasn't for getting that information from a person like him. And many others. And if he was genuinely real and all that, he will be greatly missed. If he was working for the bad guys, then it wouldn't have surprised me. That's why you have to remain distant from all this kind of information, because there's, like I said, there's so many snakes out there, guys. There's so many snakes out there that you just don't know who's who. So when you work in the world of learning and studying the occult and all this kind of stuff, then you just you can't trust people. You don't know who's out to get you. What else do I want to say? I hope everybody's doing well. And I just want to give a couple shout outs to a couple people. First of all, Messenger, I hope you're doing well. I know I message you all the time. Who else? Vention, I know he's got Vention has cancer. And I'm glad he's still around, even though he's in the fight. Shining, I don't know where the fuck you've been. Shining, I don't know what's going on with you. I don't think you want to talk to anybody. But you know you can always reach me. Guys, we're in a fight, man, and I don't think people realize it. How serious things are getting. And I just don't know what else I don't know what else to say anymore. It's a very serious situation we're facing here. And people just don't give a shit, man. They don't care, so it's going to just be me in the end. Me and everyone else that also thinks the same. I feel like I'm fighting. I feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders right now. Trying to make the right decision for my future and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life and trying to make the right decision, knowing on top of knowing everything else that I know. It's a challenge, and I don't have anybody else to talk to about these things. Very few. I have maybe one person left to talk to about it, maybe two. And you know what? That's enough for me. I don't need a whole army of people to talk to, but I only have one person to talk to things at the level of stuff that I'm aware that can relate to the things I'm trying to communicate. And then I have friends. Probably two left. Two good friends left, and then that's it. My family, I mean, I can't talk to them about any of this shit. You know, my father's so busy now, and I feel like our relationship between our families is disintegrated into nothingness. And it's kind of at that weird point now where everybody kind of goes their separate ways, and you know, you don't really have that kind of connection like you used to. I mean, that connection's been severed, you know, a long time ago, I guess, but you know, that's gone. No wife, no kids, and anything like that. So don't have any of that. Nobody to talk to in that regard, and everybody else is a fucking idiot. So, and so basically, the people like Alan Watt were the people that I would listen to feel like I wasn't so alone. So maybe that's why I'm making this video, is because when one person goes, the way that, see, let me say this before I leave here. The thing that these people don't understand, these bad guys that are doing all this horrible shit to humanity, if you kill off one of us, three more pop up. because we will fill the place. And maybe that's what I'm doing. I don't know. Except I'm coming at it with a different approach. But I will say this, I mean, you know, be genuine. You know, don't fucking play this game of who's popular and who's not. It doesn't mean any fucking thing in the end. In the end, it's a matter of your soul. And fighting for what's right, because you know what, whether you believe it or not, I believe there's a higher power out there that's watching what we're doing. You know, and what decisions we are making at this very moment for what's right and what's wrong and what's good and what's bad. And I believe that that's a big factor in all of this.